Alrighty everyone, welcome back. We are now getting closer to the official release of Tales of the Jedi, which by the way technically debuts very late tonight, leading into the 26th of October. A lot of fans are looking forward to the total of 6 whole episodes that will showcase young Qui-Gon Jinn, Lightside Dooku, and a whole lot more coming into the equation here. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you are new to the channel for future Star Wars updates. Also, by the way guys, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support. It is greatly appreciated. Now, where we are right now between what Favreau and Filoni are currently working on, so to speak, is, like we've said before multiple times, they're working on over a dozen Star Wars projects at once in different phases of development, some of which are in production, some of which pre-production or early development. I mean, there's a lot of things on their plate, and I gotta give them credit for that. I mean, they have endless energy to really focus on Star Wars around the clock. Now that brings us to what's been going on behind the scenes when it involves, of course, Lucasfilm's Kathleen Kennedy. Now, as you all know, Kathleen Kennedy's been having a very tough time these days behind the scenes over at Lucasfilm because of the ultimatum that Disney recently gave her about the Acolyte series. We talked about this already just about 3 days ago. But when we focus on Kathleen Kennedy as a specific producer and president of the Lucasfilm company, is that we already know that in the past she has done many terrible mistakes with the Star Wars franchise, and even, of course, others have openly admitted to Kathleen Kennedy really creating a bigger problem behind the scenes. Now, with that being said, that brings us to this. Now, with Kathleen Kennedy currently struggling with the Acolyte series, after creating so many setbacks and issues for the show, however, it's noted that just recently Disney executives decided to fire and replace Kathleen Kennedy as a producer from another Star Wars project that she was initially attached to that is set to bring in Jon Favreau as a producer. Now, this is noted to be, of course, for the up-and-coming Book of Boba Fett Season 2 that Kennedy was recently fired from as a producer in order to prevent her from changing, of course, the funding and the budget of the series. With Favreau always creatively in charge of this show, Kennedy was always attached to it on the financial end of the spectrum, and has now been let go as a producer and will not be able to call the shots on the funding. Now, previously, Kennedy had planned to lower the budget drastically of the second season of Boba, and wanted to cap it and limit it at being a 4-episode epilogue series to end things off with Boba Fett's story. Now, let me just pause here quick. Obviously, this sounds like Kathleen Kennedy wanted nothing to do with the character of Boba Fett, and so this is basically her way of kind of just saying she didn't want anything to do with the character or making the character better than he should be. And so, by doing that, she originally, before she was let go, capped the series at being a 4-episode epilogue show, 1 hour each. Basically a 4-hour film, if you want to look at it like that. Where the budget was going to be drastically cut down in comparison to Boba Fett Season 1. Now, thankfully, all of this has been reversed ever since Kathleen Kennedy got the boot and has been shown the door by Disney executives, and allowing Favreau to truly take control of the funding side of things. Now, he was always involved on the creative end, but the funding side of things is where there was a problem that is now no longer an issue. So basically, what we saw happen with the Book of Boba Fett Season 1 is Kathleen Kennedy did have a lot of control over that show, at least, 75%. And when we look at that scenario, and when we look at what's happening with Season 2 is actually gearing up to be the true bounty hunting story that you've all been waiting for. They're truly going to change the theme and the overall structure of this show, and how it actually flows, what the budget's going to be like, how it appears, and all the more being thrown in there. Now, that brings us to the next scenario, between Favreau and Filoni currently hiring new creatives to come on board and handle this franchise properly. They're also on the hunt of getting specific new directors to actually come on board of Season 2 of the Book of Boba Fett. So you can see what they're trying to do. They're really trying to expand their horizons and really just kind of see, you know, which directors have something or don't have. Now, here's the next thing. Now, of course, Favreau did not agree with this at all in the beginning, and this caused a big problem between Disney executives and Kennedy, after her failures with the Acolyte production, of course. Now, this has allowed Disney to step in and fire Kennedy from the second season of Boba as a producer, where Favreau is now taking her place. The second season is set to focus more on the dark and gritty side of Boba Fett, and will focus more on his bounty hunting business rather than what was done in the first season. Season 2 is said to take heavy inspiration from the canceled video game Star Wars 1313. Now, Kennedy is not happy about this in the slightest after Favreau stepped in as her replacement, and is now doubling the budget for the second season to make it way longer and more cinematic looking. Season 2 is said to be considered a soft reboot, much like Kenobi Season 2 as well, and how that's a part of the big plan as well by Disney. So that's another thing. I don't know if you guys have been in the loop. We've been talking about this, of how Kenobi Season 2 is going to be a soft reboot. Basically, it's not going to necessarily be called Season 2. It's going to have its own title. It's going to actually continue the story, but it will limit the amount of references to Season 1, if that makes sense. So I think that this is a great move. I mean, Kennedy's being shown the door, show by show, by Disney executives. It's happening progressively. Disney's finally coming to their senses that she's not right for the job. I mean, she's really not, especially when it comes to marketing, when it comes to the budgeting of these shows. She's not the right person for the job. She's just not. And when we look at things like Boba Fett, this is a show that needs proper attention after Season 1 got a lot of criticism and a lot of flack because of what Robert Rodriguez approved. He was an actual executive producer, by the way, so he had a lot of pull. And so that brings us to where we are now, between Favreau and Filoni really doing what they want to do with the Boba Fett story. And I think that this is really going to make a lot of fans, you know, very inspired about what Favreau and Filoni are currently crafting behind the scenes. Now, Kathleen Kennedy is still working on the Acolyte, on Skeleton Crew. She had full creative power on that, with not just the financial end, but on the creative end as well. Favreau and Filoni tried to step in and actually fix some things, but they eventually just quit because of all the drama, all the toxicity in the environment, etc. So here we are. I mean, it's the end of October already. They're gonna actually get a chance to announce Season 2 of Boba Fett by next year's Celebration. Keep your eyes open for that. It's gonna be quite an amazing experience. Celebration is said to actually unveil new titles that reach up all the way until the year of 2026 at the maximum. And that really is going to expand the roadmap in just 1 year. So anyways, guys, you know, drop a comment below. Let me know what you guys have to say about this below in the comments. And if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I'm also on Twitter at Mike01 if you guys want to go ahead and check me out over there. And I'll catch you guys next time.